Hey everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. This is RCB, aka Rocket Catchin' Bob, and today I want to do a recap. So we actually had maybe 3-4 plays that we did today. All of them were really good opportunities. Some of them didn't work out. So I want to walk you kind of through how I pretty much play them if they don't, and play them if they do work out. So the first play I took today was ACST. A lot of this was consolidating before market had opened. It did have some news on acquisition news. It basically had consolidated in this area right about 58 to 60 range. So let me put like a little line there for you guys. So it just continued to get right here at open, and I was going to try to get in off the spike. So recently we've seen a lot of kill candles. A lot of things. Basically, if you don't know what a kill candle is, usually it's whenever something spikes out of a pattern and it just does not hold, it just pretty much gets a big red candle right after it, kills all the momentum, and it just resets everything. So in this market, you have to be very, very careful. So I'm trying to adapt to that, and because of that, I said to myself, I'm gonna wait for this to break this 58 mark and see what happens after. Are we going to get a big spike? Are we going to continue to push? How I like to play them is wait for it to come back closer to that previous resistance level and let that be made into a support. So what I was looking for here is if this area could hold, maybe buy in here at 59. You could also risk like 58s in this situation. I did a little bit different. I was actually hoping it did break down 59 and we see like a lot of people kind of get stopped out of it because there's a lot of hard stops put in orders right now because people are nervous about these kill candles or momentum breaks. So I actually was trying to dig in here at 57s, and I said to myself, if this candle can't really bounce back up over the resistance or that support from earlier, then I'll probably just get out. So it did actually come down to this level of 57s. I was able to get in, and then it just did not hold. And because of that, I just took my loss and I moved on. You can see what would have happened if I didn't take my loss. It would have just kept going down, right? So I actually thought about it, this pattern, and I said to myself, doesn't that look familiar? I swear I've seen this before. So let me go back and look at MITO. So MITO was the top gainer from yesterday. And, all the consolidation, all this pretty much happened after the open. But it did get a nice spike, it consolidated, and it kept, getting higher lows, and you had this horizontal resistance. So what you see here is it has an ascending triangle, and basically it just fails to break that ascending triangle to the upside. It just failed, and it just, instead of actually breaking out, which if you look at this candle here, you'll see that it did try. So another thing you're going to see in this video is a lot of fake outs. So I'm going to show you guys kind of how to take advantage of these fake outs. So it actually came up to this level. There was a big volume candle, which is what you want to see. But usually that is followed by another volume candle, and it's sitting above that resistance and making it support. In the instance of the market we've been in, you've got a fake out like this. Doesn't hold, big red candle, consolidates a bit, and then just turns back to the downside. Now let's go back and look at the first play that I've showed you guys, just to give you an idea. Yes, it's not exactly right. It didn't really have an ascending triangle for it, but it did pretty much have some of this consolidation and then breaks upward, and it gets a red candle, and what does it do? It fades out. So same situation, right? Just doesn't hold the gains, and that's what we've seen a lot of in this market. So this is just more of a recap of just how I played it and how I took my loss, and I wasn't greedy, or I wasn't gonna just hold and hope. And that's something you guys really got to get into the habit of. Make sure you cut these losses quickly and just move on. Find the next best probable play, and so you can take advantage of that. So that's the first one. Second one, let's go look at RHE. So we actually released a video on Sympathy Plays. So if you haven't watched that, please search through my profile here, and you can go back and find Sympathy Plays and how to play them. RHE is a perfect example. So glad we actually released that video so you guys could utilize that for today. So That video will help you a lot. This is one of the top gainers. RHE has been a player that has moved. Let's look at the chart real quick. So if we look back on the 5-day, you see this moves from $10 to $27. Well, usually what happens is if they can keep some consolidation, then they can do it again. And when you see this, you want to be able to take advantage of it. So in the instance that I actually heard or saw this spiking back up, I was more interested to go look for what? A sympathy play. So SSY was my #1 sympathy play off of RHE. So you'll see here, I actually have the trend line set up. So I actually have some resistance here at 480s. I'll show you exactly why that's there. So we look at the 5-day, 5-minute. We actually have this resistance from yesterday, right? Where it couldn't get above it. So we're going to use that today also. And then we go scroll back a little further, we can see that this actually topped out around 545 or 525 to 550s. So we also want to use that line just in case. So we'll know kind of where to scale out or where we should see this go up to and have a better idea of how we can take advantage and where we should take advantage at. So on RHE, it goes from $16 to $17 all the way up to about $24. And since it made this move from 9:30 until about 10:05, SSY was where I went to. So we look at this, 9:30 to 10:15. This one actually stayed around a little bit longer than most of the sympathy plays have after the first. So we were able to pretty much take advantage of this dip here at $10, 9.59 area, and take advantage way down here, right? So this had actually kind of not held this ascending triangle break. It popped back down. And another thing you kind of should know is, patterns are important, but when you're following sympathy, it's not like it matters as much, because if the leader just starts going out of nowhere and just pops right back up, then this can do the same thing, right? So let's look at 9:54, 9:59, so 9:54, 10 o'clock, and 10:05, and see what RHE is doing. So RHE at 9:59, or in this area, is dropping. So is SSY. So that pops down, it comes down again, and I think most people at this point have started selling off on SSY because they're like, oh, you know what, RHE is just going to sell off too, so might as well get out. Well, guess what? This thing just pops right back up, and then it makes a big move to 10:06. So I was able to take advantage and buy SSY while everyone was getting out of it because they didn't see it coming. They didn't think that this could happen. So because of that, there we go. There's your big move. 430s, and maybe you got 410s. And then you see this big push all the way up to 466, 480. I mean, even if you got in here at 427, 430, because, you still had a shot. This is 10:05, right? RHE is already back at high a day, and now this is way down here at 428, which it should be at high a day if it's going to follow to sympathy. So I was able to take a big advantage of this and take some profits right into this 450s to 480s, which was a very nice play, and I'll take that anytime. Another play today was IHT. This is another leader. It made a big move. It made 250, or it went all the way from 250 to $5. Think about that, 100% gain. And I think this actually made 100% in about 30 minutes. Is that right? Wow, that is impressive. So I'm going to show you guys something really cool that you can take advantage of in this market or any market, okay? So I'm going to just chart this out for you. $5 is the resistance of IHT, and it's pretty clear, right? Got some wicks up here, can't get past it. Just topped out here at 5s. It tried to break above it. No dice, couldn't go. So if you kind of look at the horizontal resistance here, what are you seeing? Are you seeing a pattern? Because I'm seeing an ascending triangle, right? I love ascending triangles. These are my favorite charts, or one of my favorite patterns, right? So there was, we were talking about on Twitch chat together. If you look here, we were looking at 450 to hold, and we were also looking at $5 resistance, kind of like this little channel inside of this ascending triangle. And I told people, I said, this is very important. never look away from the stock, okay? If it's a top gainer, it can fake out, it can juke, it can go down and come back. You never know. I used to, like, when I started trading, I'd always be like, oh, you know what? It's falling. It looks bad. It's weak. There's no volume. Level 2's bad, whatever. And I'd look the other way and I go play another ticker. It would probably be even more illiquid because I just let go of the top gainer or just wasn't interested anymore. 5 minutes later, I hear it on my scanner, or I see people talking about it on social media, like, wow, this thing's going crazy. Can you believe it? Wow, did you see that? And I'm like, no way. I know I was literally just in that. Maybe you sold it, right? You sold it down here at 453 or something out of this channel, said, you know what, it's weak, it's not going to go. I'm out. And then all of a sudden, it just makes this move from 450s all the way up to 570s. So what did I learn? I learned to never look away. Always check back. Now, here's something. There's some consolidation here from 450s to 5s, and this ascending triangle is here, and this is basically the wedge that needs to really hold this uptrend, right? So a lot of the bears are coming in here and they're shorting this, and they're saying, you know what, looks weak to me. I'm just going to short it. I think we're going to go back down to, say, 425s or $4. That's kind of like where their targets might be, right? So in this instance, you see it actually break down, and it has like a little bit of volume on the breakdown. So we look here, let's see, right here on the breakdown, 250,000 shares were sold in this candle. But what happens to this candle? It was like all red, and then it just pops right back up. And now everyone who may have shorted this or pushed it down is now kind of flipped back underwater, and it's just basically a fake out. The bears are getting faked out. It pushes back up. This was another thing I saw too. So there was this trend line that looked a little bit like this, okay? So like a little wedge inside of this ascending triangle. And once it faked out and popped back up to this level at 491, I told the chat on Twitch, hey, if you want to look for a dip buy, this is not a bad area, because all these people who just shorted it might be in a really bad position, and then they might flip it on them. As soon as I said that, maybe even like 30 seconds later, you see this break $5, and instantly, and I mean instantly, it went all the way up to 560s, 570s. At that point, I was able to scale out, 75%. That's kind of been what I'm going for now, because the market's a little slower, so I'm taking more profits, or a bigger percentage of profits earlier. If it's 10%, 15%, whatever, I'm taking my 75% out, and I'm going to let my last 25% go. So it kind of goes on to this marker, right? You see there's going to be some resistance here about 580s, and we get consolidation, and it tries to wick down again. It actually holds, consolidates more, and then we see the opposite. We see this thing actually break out of 580s, go to 6s, and then it traps a lot of the bulls, and then it just takes them down. And then everyone gets stuck in that. So anyone who wasn't able to really take advantage of this first trick of the bear trap now is kind of like maybe chasing it, because they saw this big move. They're like, oh man, this is crazy. Like now they may have looked away, and now they're back, and maybe they chase 580s, and now they're all trapped. And unfortunately, this happens. So I want you guys to kind of keep a watch on this in the future. Be able to take advantage of these bull and bear traps, whether you want to go short or you want to go long. There's always things like this in the market, and usually when you see one get whipped out and it fakes to the other side, you can see a big move like this. Doesn't happen every time, but it is definitely something you should note. So another play off of IHT was MDRR. So I'm going to show you guys. This is my last play, and I want you guys to be able to bank in every little way you can and learn whatever you can. That's what this YouTube's for. So I really hope you guys are seeing this and understanding. Let's see what happens here. So 11:14, right? On IHT at 11:14, what happens? So 11:15, basically. This is when that fake out happened on IHT. Okay, you got this fake out, pops back up, and then it pushes all the way from 11:15 to 11:23, and then back to high a day. So let's think about 11:15 to 11:23, and let's go back to MDRR. So 11.15, right? 11.15 breaks all the way back down. This is the sympathy play of the IHT. If you didn't already know this, this is just in that same sector, not in the same industry this time. I actually looked at FinViz, and it was in the same sector, and it was one of the lowest market caps, and that's how we found this. So just so you guys know what was going on with that and how we found it, that's what you can look up on FinViz. You don't always have to look at the industry, but look at the sectors also, just in case. So at 11.14, 11.15, this actually broke all the way back down to 133s, and you could have got that, or at least somewhere in this area, if you were paying attention to IHT, where it was bouncing back up, and then all of a sudden it just pushed all the way back up to this 150s. Now, if you're buying at 136, maybe even 138, you can just risk off of, maybe 135s here, just in case, like, IHT doesn't go and it just fakes out, like a double fake out or something. But if it does what it did today, then you've just made 10% pretty easily. So let's just say you bought 137, you want to get 10%. All you need is like 13 or 14 cents, which is literally right where it goes to 150s. So I was able to capitalize on a lot of plays today. Most of them were off sympathy and just top gainers and some fake outs. And I just know that some people don't know even about fake outs. The fact is, it happens. And this traps the bears, and if it just turns around, you could see a nice squeeze of volume, because those guys, like, think about like when you get stuck on a kill candle. Like, it's the same idea. You just need to get out of the play and move on. And they're thinking the same thing on the short side. I hope this video helped you. I hope you learned something. And if you liked it, please leave us a thumbs up. Okay? Subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. If you didn't already know this, we actually stream live on twitch.tv/RocketCatchingBob Monday through Friday, starting at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So check that out. We'd love to have you guys. And we want you guys to be great students, and we want you to be great traders in the future. So let's do that together. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for checking it out.